what kind of prospect were you known as in media circles and?
Nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who I was. I like it like that. That's good. I don't like all the attention. I like it. Nobody don't need to know. I just kept working hard, underground, just trying to do all the hard work. Try to, sooner or later, it pay off.
Right.
So.
I like the fact.
Russell Westbrook, point guard, 6'3", coming out of UCLA, born in Long Beach, California on November 12, 1988. Drafted by the Seattle Supersonics in the first round with the 4th overall pick. 9-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time assist champ, 9-time All-NBA, 2008, 2009 All-Rookie Team, 2-time All-Star MVP in 2016, 2017 MVP. And last but certainly not least, my favorite player. I originally wasn't a Russ fan. I had love for him, but I was really a KD fan. I didn't know much about Russ besides the fact that he played alongside KD. But over time, I eventually started to mess with Russ, even more than KD. The dunks, the passes, the yelling, the entertaining part about Russ was what I fell in love with. Even his interviews were cool. And he seemed like a pretty modest dude, Back in his OKC days, he was focused on winning and playing hard. That's all he cared about. In my favorite part, because I'm a shorter dude, I'm a shorter dude. I have setbacks in other ways in life. And people always tell me, like, I would say people always tell me this, but people may not say it to you. But sometimes you can tell when people don't really believe in what the fuck you're telling them about or what you're saying to them. And they cast it off as something that's impossible or something you can't achieve or something you can't do. And Russ is the epitome of the opposite of that. I look at Russ and I see somebody who works his ass off every day. He might not be as skilled as everybody else. Even back then I realized he wasn't as skilled as like a Steph or Chris Paul. You feel me? But I realized he can work. He worked his ass off, and that's why he still was having a spot in this league. That's why he still could hoop. That's why he still could play. And I loved how he gave everything. Every time he stepped on the court, he gave it his all. No breaks. No plays off. Just full steam ahead. We gotta go. Russell fucking Westbrook, and I loved it. And Russ was the example. Almost, I would say he set an example. Obviously, my dad was a big part of my life, and various other sports figures like KD and them too. But Russ was that one part of my life where I could look at that person and say, you know what? He works his ass off, and this is what he got for working his ass off in the end. But on top of that, besides all of that as well, you had a nice young core OKC that was exciting and fun to watch. I remember the first time I seen like the little mom made Hot Pockets meme of Russ, KD, and Harden all together, bro. And it was like the best thing in the fucking world. So it was just kind of hard for a young kid like myself not to fall in love with that trio, honestly. But even after Harden left, and it was just Russ and KD, that duo as well was something I still like love, bro. It was the best thing to watch on television. I don't care what nobody says. When the Thunder were playing, it didn't matter who they were playing against. To watch Russ go catch a lob from KD, slam it, KD get the ball, ice on the wing, pull up, bang. It was a beautiful thing to see and watch, bro. I started liking the Thunder so much, I started messing with the secondary players. Like, I'll get on 2K and make Daquan Cook a good player and shit, you feel me? Because I was just in love with the Thunder as a team. But I didn't realize at this time, but I was really starting to like Russell Westbrook too, though. And the 2014-2015 season is when it got bad. That's when I realized, oh shit, I might actually be like a equal, like it's the playing field has been equal between Russ and KD type shit. And I kind of realized it because KD got hurt that year, and it was just Russ, and that's one of the years he got one of his scoring titles or whatever, or championships, whichever one you want to say. And it was the Russ show, man. It was some of the best highlights, some of the best memories. Cause my brother was also a Thunder's fan, kind of part of the reason I wanted to be a Thunder fan as well. It was like one of the best things in the world. We would go sit down on the couch, watch Thunder games, and just watch Russ light niggas up. And we would keep saying, wait till KD gets back. Wait till KD gets back. And man, and obviously I'm not saying I was happy about KD being injured. I was obviously a little disappointed in that and the fact that my favorite player's health is at stake in any way. You feel me? But it really gave me a chance to see Russ shine and really see how good that nigga truly was. And with all this being said, that's why I was so blinded by so much of the misfortunes and so much of the setbacks that were throughout this run these two, or if you want to include Harden, these three had. I was blind to the chokings of 3-1s. I was blind to the Lakers series when they first got together and the flaws then that even lasted all the way through the Mavs and Spurs series when they lost those series as well. And even, I'm not going to count the 1 year KD was getting, had that rough patch because Russ got injured because of fucking Pat Bev. I'm not going to count that. But I was blind to the fact even when they got dismantled by the Heat in the finals. Like, I kind of chalked it up as they're young and I kind of just listened to sports talk shows, and they kept saying, like, oh, yeah, they're young. They'll get it together. And I believed it. Sit up there watching Skip and Stephen A. talk about that shit. I believed them. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're right. They'll figure it out. And so, with that being said, I'm like, man, this is going to fucking work. This is a duo. This is a Karl Malone, Stockton, Shaq Kobe, Mike Pimpin type duo, man. This is something that is going to last forever and is going to work. And that no matter how many setbacks these guys go through, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I know they're not going to fuck it up. And they will figure this shit out. Boy, was I fucking wrong.
Relationships in international play, even with Steph Curry and Andre Iguodala, you're playing against a Draymond Green, a Klay Thompson. They wanted you and welcomed you. How much of the personality fit was important as well as the basketball fit for you?
I was shocked that those four guys came in to meet me a couple of days ago. Team, won 73 games and the championship before. I didn't think that they would be interested in a player like me because they had so much success. But to see them together, they all walked in and looked like they were holding hands. It was a family. And I can tell they enjoyed being around each other. And that was, like I said, that was something I couldn't ignore. It was just a great vibe throughout the whole day. So I'm glad I'm here, man. Like I said, I'm excited, and I'm just ready to play ball.
So it comes out that Katie and Russ... Oh man, this is so shitty. It comes out that Katie and Russ aren't as much good terms as people made it out to be, or at least KD wasn't fucking with it. At least reports started coming out that KD was leaving and he left. Actually, like he was already pretty much gone, and he didn't even let Russ know besides like a simple little text. And that's when I kind of realized, wow, so this is it right here. My childhood heroes are going their separate ways and now becoming villains. So now, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And you know what? Instead of being mature, because I was a kid, I was still in like that middle school era, like going into high school type eras when he did that, he left or whatever. So, as a kid, I'm like, oh shit, this nigga KD's a snake. The cupcake memes, the snake memes came out, shit like that. And so in my head, I'm like, man, it's really fuck this nigga. I don't want to be a fan of a snake ass nigga. Not knowing he left because the Thunder weren't going to win anything with the way their team was set up and the way Russ was playing. They weren't ever going to truly win anything because of the way the team was just set up and the way Russ, his mindset and his play style just wasn't going to lead them to championships. But my dumb ass couldn't see that. I was blinded once again by the entertainment factor that is Russell Westbrook and what he's standing for back there. And so I kind of took it as Katie left Russ and Russ was the last man standing. And Katie was made out to be the snake and Russ was the victim. And looking back, I see why Katie left. So I don't know. I was young, so I can't really argue with myself about it. But fast forward, I'm a Russell Westbrook fan full time now. I got my first jersey from him. Those Oklahoma City Thunder alternate jerseys. It's like the first jersey I caught from. That's a Russell Westbrook jersey or whatever. And man, I was just loyal to it, man. I became super loyal to Russell Westbrook, defending Russ. Like, man, I had so much respect for him. And he was the underdog by himself on the Thunder. Like, you know, that crazy 2016-2017 season and shit, that magical season. Then he got fucked up in the playoffs. And even after first round exit, I kept saying to myself, I'm like, man, it's not Russ's fault. It's not Russ's fault. It's not Russ. It's not Russ. I kept doing that. I kept doing it because he's the underdog. He's my hero. The triple doubles, the MVPs. I got lost in like a fucking genjutsu. It's like fucking Itachi was staring at me in the middle of a fight and just put me in a fucking genjutsu. And so I lost it. I was in a mirage. For the people who don't watch anime, I was stuck in a mirage. I thought I was seeing water, and really it was just desert and sand. You feel me? I was lost in the glory that was the Brody, Russell Westbrook. So after this is when the toxicity of being a fan of Russell Westbrook came in. You know, when he played like shit against the Jazz and lost to a rookie, Donovan Mitchell, the Blazers, the Warriors, and all the other trials and tribulations I had to deal with as being a Russell Westbrook fan, it was hard to back him up, though, because not only were his stats efficiency-wise, the numbers always look good because, you know, that was his thing. You know, stat padding parts were coming up. People were like, oh, you stat pads. And I was trying to shut that shit up. But the efficiency-wise, his numbers weren't looking too hot. And so even numbers-wise, some of his numbers weren't looking too hot during the playoffs because teams know how to play him in a 7-game series. They figured it out eventually. Like, it's not too hard. So my problem was I kept blaming the people around Russell Westbrook and not realizing that Russell Westbrook was the problem. Paul George, I apologize. I was on Paul George's head. He had some bad games and some interesting moments during some of those series, but it wasn't Paul George's fault. I blame Melo. I was like, Melo, you know, Melo doesn't play defense. Melo does this. Melo does that. It wasn't really Melo's fault, you know. I used to blame the shit out of his supporting cast when he first got there with like Oladipo and them. I was like, man, these niggas ain't doing what they need to do. They need to step it up. And I'm like, now looking back at it, like, how the fuck are they supposed to step up if Russ has the ball majority of the time? How are they supposed to do what they need to do? And it was so bad to the point where I even overlooked like the end game mistakes. Like, I'm watching the game, but I'm like, man, that's not his fault. That nigga should have cut right there or something like that. Like the turnovers, the bad decisions, the rushing of momentum when people aren't pacing with you, so he's just running full speed down the court to rebound and, you know, losing shit off his leg or some shit, like crazy shit like that. And the craziest one, because it's so blatant. Like all those other ones I can understand because I wasn't watching basketball like that. But the jump shot and the shot choice within his jump shot. This nigga was shooting the ball like he's Steph Curry, but his efficiency number said he's shooting like fucking Dwight Howard for the 3-point line. Like, he's not a shooter. That's what they said to us. Or even, not even Dwight Howard. Because Dwight Howard doesn't take, you feel me, threes. We'll go with a Baron Davis. You know, his numbers look like Baron Davis' type numbers. You feel me? But they weren't efficient at all. And he was chucking them bitches like at a crazy rate throughout all these series. And even to the current day, he still shoots a lot of them. But I kept defending Russell Westbrook. Twitter Spaces and Twitter was a thing. I just wasn't on it. Me and my friend, I say defending the lunch tables, man. You can ask my homie Colin, you can ask my homie Trey, you can ask any of them. They would be like, this nigga used to stick up for Russell Westbrook like he was family type shit. But I had to. It kind of came as I grew up. I finally came to the realization I just couldn't stick up for Russ no more. That part of my life was done. It was over with. As a fan, I just couldn't do it no more. Because then Russell Westbrook was traded to the Houston Rockets. So not only was this unfortunate timing for me, because I was just growing up, I had been dealing with some crazy shit in my life that led to me having to mature in a lot of ways, and also I just got older. You feel me? I wasn't that 14, 15-year-old getting excited over dunks anymore. I wanted to be able to brag to my friends like, yeah, my favorite player did this and he does this and da da da. or even just saying like, just watching the game of basketball and playing it myself, I realized like, oh shit, well, this nigga should have did this at that moment, or he should have did that at that moment, and da-da-da. Like I'm learning, like I was just evolving, like, you know. And so the Houston Rockets are in the bubble playing against the Lakers. And this is when it clicked. And it was the saddest. I don't want to say sad. It was just like, wow. This nigga just has not evolved at all. While I'm sitting here getting mentally better and I'm figuring shit out, Russ is still the same nigga he was when he came into the league. And that hit me like in the Houston Rockets series. As I sat back and watched the Lakers leave him open. I watched as the Russell Westbrook in, what was this, year 11, 12, or 10, one of those three, still had no jump shot. Still wasn't hitting jump shots. He had to cut back door a few times just because they kept leaving him open so much. And I watched as he gets fouled. You know, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, he's at the foul line. He's not missing these. Clank, clank, clank. I'm watching Russell Westbrook miss free throws this deep into his career as a point guard. I watched as he brought the ball up and would lose it a second later. I watched and watched and watched and watched and watched and watched. And then it finally just hit me. It was like, wow. This nigga isn't as skilled as I thought he was. It hit me like, maybe Russ was just athletic as fuck. And like I said earlier, he's a pretty big point guard, you know, so he's kind of bigger than a lot of the other point guards he matches up against a lot during most nights. So he can kind of just bully them into the paint, shoot his little post fader, or like get to that mid-range spot and lay it up. But maybe Russ isn't as skilled and as good as I thought he was. And it's almost like his evolution stopped after 2016, 2017. It's almost like he realized once he got the MVP, he was like, man, I'm done. I have nothing else to prove. I'm set up in this league. And while that might be true, Russ, personally, you are. Yes, you got the MVP. You've proved to people how good you can be at basketball. But there's one thing, Russ. There's one thing you never got so far in your career. You've played with a lot of talent, man. You put up some great numbers, and I love you for that. You provided me with some of the greatest entertainment in the world a fan can ask for. But I've never got the joy of seeing you win a trophy. Hosting up that trophy, getting that ring in the finals, and saying, yes, I've officially did it. The ultimate goal. The MVP's cool. Scoring championships cool. Assist titles cool. All this shit is cool. But that championship is the one thing, Russ, I was always looking forward to seeing you get. And then, I'm not saying you're retiring. I'm not saying that. But I know you thinking the same thing. There's no way you're not. You've done everything. You just have to get that fucking ring. And I even realized that back then. And so then, this nigga went to the Lakers. Now, upon this past season, watching Russell Westbrook become a Laker was amazing to me. I enjoyed it. I was talking to my homie Colin, and I was one of these fans, you know. I was one of the fans that was like, hey, you know, D-Wade. Hey, him, D-Wade, yep, hey, you know, they're very similar. Both not very good shooters, athletic, you know. Maybe he could play alongside LeBron just like D-Wade and LeBron, you know. But that hope, that thought was soonly crushed, as this was the last straw. And I kind of believe that LeBron would like talk sense to Russ, like, you know, this is time for us to, you know, come together, put the personal shit aside. We gotta do what we need to do to make teams, to win games. You feel me? Just get to where we need to get to, you know. And Russ would just listen because that's LeBron, you know. That's somebody who's won rings. He's made his mark too, more than Russ has. Somebody you can see, like, he has the accolades and stuff to back up what he's saying. He knows what he's talking about. He's playing basketball. He's been playing basketball at an elite level for a long fucking time. But no jump shot, no IQ, no self accountability, no real care, no defense, nothing, just kind of nothing. Now, towards the end of the season, I do realize he had a pretty good stretch of games, but for the most part, I watched Russ play the worst season of basketball of his career. And with that being said, this hurts to say, but I think I am formally done being a fan of Russell Westbrook. I love the entertainment he's brought me. And the moments we have shared have been good, bad, and it's been a roller coaster. But nah, man, it has to end here. At some point it has to end. And I think today is the day. The Lakers have missed the play-in. And Russ has proven to me, like, he kind of is a cancer. I love Russell Westbrook. I swear to God, and I'm saying I'm done being a fan, but I don't think I'm ever, like, just truly, like, not a fan of Russell Westbrook. But I can't defend Russell Westbrook no more. I can't spend hours of energy going back and forth with niggas talking about why Russ is this, why Russ is that, and what flaws were going on outside of Russ. And there were flaws. Like, this team was old, injuries, shit like that. Butting heads with coaching staff, which is kind of a Russell Westbrook thing, but still it's a flaw. You feel me? Outside of just Russ basketball-wise, like his skill. But his game just doesn't check out. It brings the oohs, the ahs, and the fans and everything, and I love him for it. That's what I fell in love with Russ about in terms of basketball. But I can't, man. I can't. I'm done defending him. I still be a fan. I wish nothing. Like, if Russ hosts a trophy, like, if he at some point, and I'm giving energy to it. I want him to hold that trophy up. Like, I want him to put that ring in the sky and just wave it around, so I can sit back and cry tears of joy. But I'm done defending him. It's cool the 30-point triple doubles. It's cool the 20-20-20 game. Shout out to Nipsey. It's cool the hustling. It's cool the dunking. But at the end of the day, Russ, you just can't win a championship, dog. You just won't change. You are kind of insane, dog. Like, you do the same thing over and over again, but just never. You expect results to change, like, and that's just not how this works. You have to change something, dog. A jump shot, get better at free throws. You can still be you and help change your game, bro. And this is not a shot at Russell Westbrook either. Put the basketball shit aside. He's a great dude. Does great things for his community. He's a successful man. Has a nice family, good kid, like great kids, a loving wife, all these things. But in terms of being a basketball player, and in terms of your evolution, Russ, as a player, you suck, dog. You suck. You're better than me at basketball and all the other niggas that hate. But like, you suck. You just won't evolve, dog. Do you literally suck at basketball? No. But in terms of you not improving your game over all these years, even LeBron started to change up parts of his game just to adapt to you, Russ. And it still couldn't happen. So, I'm done defending Russell Westbrook. I will just sit back and watch. I will make my basketball videos or my general content videos about Russ or whatever. But before I get off of this, I'm sorry, KD. I'm sorry, PG. I'm sorry, Melo. I'm sorry, LeBron. I'm sorry, AD. I'm sorry, Harden. I'm sorry, Sam Presti. I am sorry to every person, even Oladipo. I'm sorry to Oladipo. I'm sorry to Sabonis. I'm sorry to all of you guys. I'm sorry to every person I blame for Russ being bad. Shit, if you will, at times. And to every person I argue with about this nigga Russ. I officially retired from being a Russell Westbrook fan. And it was a journey. I loved it, but the time has come. And this shit has to stop at some point. And here's my last point, and here's the last thing. That clip I had at the beginning of him during his interview. That is the Russell Westbrook I was a fan of. The kid who was like, I don't care about proving anything to anybody really, or like, the glitz and glamour of all that shit. I just want to work hard and work my hardest and play basketball. And that's the one thing that really fucked me up this year. And I know I named a bunch of shit, but Russell Westbrook did not look like he was giving 110% every night. It didn't look like Russell Westbrook was trying on certain nights. It looked like some nights he was just there to be there. And maybe that's because the city was tearing him down mentally, which I will attribute some of it to. You know, maybe the hopes were set too high. The bar was set way too high. Nigga couldn't reach it. But I ain't never seen Russell Westbrook not give it his all. And that's when I knew he was defeated. And so as a Russ fan, I finally felt defeated as well. You took that nigga's one thing that you could never take from this nigga. You could take the ball from, you could take the athleticism. It's dwindling now as we see his career's going on. He's had a long career, 13 years. But one thing I never thought I would see was the day Russell Westbrook stopped giving his all to the game of basketball. And that time has finally come. I witnessed it this year on the Lakers. I retired from being a Russell Westbrook fan. And, yeah, it was a journey. But I'm done, man. You don't want to evolve. How can I be a fan of somebody who doesn't want to better themselves at basketball? I can't. I just simply can't do it. So, that's pretty much it, man. I officially retired from being a Russell Westbrook fan. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time. It's been Antoine, or Twan, to some, for short. And I'm out, man. Peace.
The thing is that for me, I take pride, like I said, every single night and leaving it all on the floor. I honestly believe there is no player like myself. And if people want to take it for granted, sorry for them. But I'm pretty sure if everybody could do it, they'll do it. And I honestly make sure that I impact the game in many ways every night, defending, rebounding, passing, assisting, whatever it is that my team needs for me to be able to win. And that's what I do. I really don't, honestly, Cass, I don't care what nobody thinks about it. I don't care if somebody thinks it is, whatever they want to call it, stat padding or not useful. I mean, I think it's very interesting that it's not useful now that I'm doing it. It wasn't useful when Magic and Oscar and those guys were doing it. But now that I do it and it looks easy, this shit ain't easy though. I tell you that. It ain't easy. I take a lot of pride in my preparation. I take a lot of pride in I'm taking care of my body. I take a lot of pride in competing every night. I don't take nights off. I don't cheat the game. So with that, I'm okay with the results of going out and competing. And if it's a triple-double, then shit, why not? That's my motto. Why not? Continue to keep going.